Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
Well, top of the morning to you, and Merry Christmas, all you filthy animals out there. Good to have you here. Happy Christmas Eve. 23rd day of December, year of our Lord 2025. Tomorrow we'll be off for the Christmas holiday and off until Monday. So just so you know, the last time you get to hear the dulcet tones of Brother Lakey on a pre-Christmas show. And we'll talk Christmas topics here in just a minute. Lots of things to talk about in the news as well. Great guest coming up, Gary Benoit coming up, talking about a school in America that, believe it or not, has raised the Somalia flag over the school. We'll talk about that coming up. Also, our good friend Laura Carno is going to be on the program. We always like talking to Laura on Tuesday, Carno Tuesday. We'll have conversation with her. And also John Gordon for the John Gordon Show is going to be on the program with us as well. And we're going to talk about the cheating of an election in Georgia. And everybody thought it was conspiracy theory back in 2020. Remember Rudy Giuliani? Rudy Giuliani got screwed. They took all of his money, had to file for the BK bankruptcy and humiliated. And Rudy's going, excuse me, can I have my money back? Because you guys prosecuted me for spreading hateful speech or something about talking that Georgia had cheated in this election. And we find out they did cheat in the election, Fulton County to be specific, we know proof of. So everybody stand by, an action-packed show. It is Christmas. 'Tis the season to be jolly. And if you haven't done your Christmas shopping, time is running out. Got a couple more places I've got to go to gather some final stocking stuffers and small little gifts for my son, but it's going to be a glorious day the Lord has made. Everybody check in, let us know where you're going. Kevin's out of the Denver International Airport, working there. He's one of our insiders, secret, don't tell, at the airport and the airline industry, and he says good morning from Denver International Airport. Be safe out there, Kevin. Very busy day. Stacy says good morning from Tejas. That would be the motherland, Texas. Hello, Stacy. Wherever you're at, let us know. We always love to hear from new people. We always have a cast of characters that always like to check in every day. But if you're new to the program, anywhere where you see comments on the show, comments right below the Facebook feeds we're on, the Twitter feed, the Rumble feed, the YouTube feed, etc. You make a comment on the stream that you're watching right now, and it comes right to the studio. And producer Chad flips a coin as to whether it ever sees the light of day. But anyway, Merry Christmas to all of you. I am glad to have you here on the program, and I welcome you to the show and to the conversation as well. I've got a question of the day for you. It's a fun question of the day. Ruin Christmas in 4 words. I want to ruin Christmas in 4 words. You hear these 4 words, then perhaps it's going to be a bloody Christmas for you, and it's not going to be great. I'll give you some examples that came through when I saw this question. For instance, you sit at the dinner table and you say, "There's not a Santa." That's going to ruin someone's Christmas. So everybody get creative here, and you can ruin Christmas in 4 words. If you want to use 3, you can, but no more than 4. Ruin Christmas. What do you say to ruin everyone's Christmas? Not that we're trying to ruin anybody's Christmas, but it's just kind of a fun exercise to ruin Christmas. For instance, Kamala Harris is president. That would ruin a Christmas. Joe Biden is going back to the Oval Office. That's more than 4 words, but it would ruin your Christmas. You get the idea. Let us know how you could ruin Christmas in 4 words. Ready, set, go. That is your exercise of the morning. Ruin Christmas in 4 words, and it can be an exercise of how not to communicate as the family begins to gather. All right, so there's your question of the day. Ruin Christmas in 4 different words. Love to have you here. President Trump has made a big announcement on energy. That's a breaking news story this morning. One of those is he's halted the leases in the ocean for these windmills to go up, these wind devices, turbines to go up. And there's been some talk for many years now about the damage it is doing to the sea life and the aqua life and the bottom of the sea. There's cables that they're having to trench down into the bottom of the sea, and they run between each one. Transmission lines. There's been strange whale behavior. The aqua life, the marina life seems to be going a little bit crazy on this. And President Trump says, we never researched this. There was never any research for these bat crap crazy environmental wackos to come out there. And never any research for them to go out there and say, how is this going to damage marine life? It was just simply a derangement about oil and gas. It's simply a derangement when it comes to carbon. And there was never, ever any... there was never any research on this thing, and that's how the left seems to operate. They don't come up with intellectual solutions. They come up with name calling. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a homophobe. You're a sexist. You're a misogynist. Okay, what's your policy? Well, your policies suck, and so you have to name call. And you also just come up with derangement syndrome. The derangement syndrome could be, I hate Donald Trump, so I can't think and have any intellectual thought or conversation because I have Trump derangement syndrome. And a lot of the left people in the American left have also had oil and gas, carbon, environmental derangement syndrome. And so rather than thinking about the policies that they're putting in place, they just say anything is better than what we have, and yet it's not. So you have the president of the United States saying, first of all, and by the way, these wind turbines in the ocean are real failures. The cost of getting a gigabyte or a gigawatt or whatever you get out of these things is so much higher than just natural gas. In other words, you keep putting them up, and if you rely on those, it's not going to get cheaper. Well, the sun is free, Jimmy. It's not. The transmission and the extraction of turning that into electricity in your home is like quadruple what it costs currently. So it's not only bad policy for the marine life for the American for the Democrats, bad policy, but it's also bad policy for your pocketbook. So we'll talk more about that in the days ahead. But President Trump has said this is stupid. We're not going to do that. I like some of the answers coming in on the question of the day: ruin Christmas in 4 words. And one of the 4 words is I see Kevin says fruitcake and in-laws. Yeah, those 4 words could do it. Fruitcake. Fruitcake could do that. Jeff says we're out of eggnog. Yeah, we're out of the eggnog. Yeah, that could be a problem as well. So anyway, ruin Christmas in 4 words. Have a great time doing it. Love to hear your fun conversations about that. Ruin Christmas in 4 words. All right, we'll talk about the energy policy. I was reading some of this last night, and I said it's amazing that all these energy policies and all of these wind turbines that have gone to the ocean, the detriment, the death that they're bringing, and then to read the lack of research of what the long-term effect of these things would be is actually quite fascinating. And it goes back to what I say is that the American left doesn't have real policy. They don't have intellectual thought. They have hyperbolic name-calling and just nasty words for people, racist, fascist, bigot, all this stuff. He's Hitler, and we hate Trump. And they have all these derangements, and the derangements, they're deranged with regard to what Al Gore, I guess, indoctrinated with many years ago of global warming and the sky is falling, etc. So let's talk about it all, and let's discuss it all, and let's have conversation about it all. But it is amazing. Name one policy that the Democrats and the modern left, and I wish it was different than this, you really can't name a policy right now that they have that's baked into something besides derangement. If you really look at even how they closed the government down a couple of months ago, November, they closed the government down. That was really a derangement about Obamacare. That was a derangement about illegal aliens. And that was the cover story. You're racist. It's all that. No, what it really was is these are incentives, or these are supplements, or these are benefits that were going to the insurance companies so that the insurance rich people got richer, and that your Obamacare was, quote, affordable, but it was money being paid to the insurance company. So they wrapped it up in this deranged, we're going to shut the government down. We're going to wrap it all up, and you're a racist, and you don't like illegals, and people will die, and healthcare is going to be awful. And that was the derangement of the front part, but the real policy of it is simply that the insurance companies, you weren't getting those supplements directly. They weren't coming into your paycheck. They were paying the insurance company those supplements. And because they were paying those insurance companies, the insurance companies got richer, and supposedly your health care stayed down. But it's all wrapped up, not in an intellectual argument of whether we should be supplementing the health insurance companies. It was all wrapped up in this derangement of illegal aliens and giving them health care. So again, I put it out there that I think it's going to be absolutely positively you can sum up any modern Democrat Party policy based and spun up in the fact of derangement, and that's not healthy. And that's how they did. That's why they're killing the whales and the marine life for these turbines in the ocean. And President Trump says, halt the leases on that. We're not going to do that anymore. The question of the day is, how can you ruin Christmas in 4 words? Some great ones coming in. Barbara says, Mom burnt the rolls. Yeah, I hate it when Mama burns the rolls. Kevin says, cigar shop is closed. You know, there are some cigar bars around town that are open. I have had that experience before. If my son has had other activities or gone skiing, but in the past, before he played college football, we used to go skiing. Now he's not allowed to do that, so he doesn't. But he was skiing on Christmas, and I found out that there were some cigar locations, bars, particularly, I could think of a couple that were actually open. But now I have my own place. I can smoke with cigars in my own lounge, my own Lakey entertainment tower, the House of Lakey. I've got places to do it, and I am well taken care of in that front. Stacy says, one of the questions, they ruined Christmas in 4 words. Refrigerator just went out. Yeah, that really happened for Stacy this Thanksgiving. Well, I'm sorry about that, and I hope your refrigerator is working. I really do. All right. What else do we have in the news? The Department of Justice is, we're starting to get kind of a hint of things. We had Michael Letts on several times, and he says he's hearing in January there's going to be some of the accountability indictments that we've been waiting to hear about. Yesterday, we talked to Michael Letts, investusa.org, and go back and we'll listen to that interview on the show. And Michael said that he believes that the Dan Bongino resignation from the FBI is actually, it's kind of has a caveat. In other words, hey, stick around through January, and if some business starts getting taken care of, then maybe Dan Bongino stays a little bit longer. That was an assertion based on informed information that Michael Letts had it. So go back and watch that interview. But Michael says his sources in the Justice Department, he's well connected to the administration. Michael says that he believes that there's going to be some accountability coming for the shenanigans of the deep state operators that have been and work in our country for decades, but have done everything they can to commit a coup against Donald Trump in his first term, make sure he couldn't get on the ballot in the second term, and now they're trying to coup his second term. They believe there's going to be a little bit of some accountability happening. One of the confirmations we have now is that John Brennan has, his attorney has confirmed that John Brennan is the target of a grand jury probe and is now asking the judge to intervene. Remember, no one's above the law except John Brennan. That's what they said. No one's above the law. Well, then if no one's above the law, let the grand jury do their job, right? That was what you would think you'd say. Let me read this story. It's from justthenews.com. Former CIA Director John Brennan's attorneys have taken an extraordinary step of confirming that their client is a target of a criminal grand jury investigation in Florida, and are asking the chief federal judge in Miami to stop the proceedings on the grounds that the Justice Department is judge shopping. The revelations come in a letter that defense attorneys Ken Weinstein and Natasha Harnell Davis sent to the U.S. District Judge Cecilia Altanaga, a Bush appointee from old W days. And she says, you've got to stop this. They're looking for they're judge shopping. They're down here in Florida for a reason. They say they have been informed by the U.S. Attorney Jason Rating Quinones in Miami, and the grand jury is investigating Brennan's role in the 2016 all the way to the 2027 Russia collusion probe that has now been discredited. 2016 to 2017, Russian collusion probe. They have a mistype here, including a CIA assessment that Russian President Vladimir Putin tried to help Trump win the 2016 election. Whistleblower evidence has been released. John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, has called into question a lot of the nonsense that's out there, and they're going after. And John Brennan's attorney has confirmed that he is on the brink or the tip of the spear, one of the people being investigated by that grand jury. And could it be that that indictment is going to be one that we were talking about would happen in January? And Michael Lett's very confident that there's some accountability going to be coming to people. And if you go back and listen to yesterday's interview with Michael Letts, Michael also did confirm, if you'd missed this, Michael also confirmed that there are already military tribunals being put together as well. Michael used it as Michael Letts said yesterday. Not only there are grand jury investigations going on now, there are military tribunals that are being convened, and there's going to be a backup for some of the charges that are out there because some of them need a tribunal more than they need a judge. So everybody hold onto your hat. It could be a very, very interesting January, and John Brennan's attorney has now confirmed that John Brennan is the target of a grand jury investigation. Speaking of being held accountable, we all know that Hunter Biden had business deals and business arrangements with the Russians. We've heard of the stories of how he was on the board of Burisma, the energy company out of Ukraine, admitting he had nothing to do or had no knowledge of what the energy industry was. Well, there's other people that have had some interesting interaction with the Ukrainians, and now the Pentagon, which we would know as the Department of War, is calling for an ethics inquiry into Representative Eugene Vindman, a Democrat from Virginia, over business deals that he and his brother, who's retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, they struck deals in Ukraine while Eugene was simultaneously part of the State Department-funded inquiry into Russian atrocities in Ukraine. The Vindmans, if you recall, one's a representative, one has been a military advisor to the first Trump administration. They have a case of the Trump derangement syndrome, and they thought that Donald Trump should be impeached or imprisoned or whatever. Well, the Pentagon's general counsel has sent a November letter to the House Ethics Commission, and as well as leaders of the House Armed Services and Oversight Committee, and they are urging an ethics-related inquiry into the efforts undertaken by Eugene Vindman, elected in Congress in 2024, and by his brother Alexander, as they both have worked with the U.S. defense companies and the Ukrainian government to pursue potentially lucrative contracts in a war-torn country, at the same time that one of the Vindman brothers was also being funded by the State Department for to investigate Russia war crimes and in the Ukraine. And they're saying, hey, you can't be doing a business deal with the Ukrainians at the same time you're supposed to be doing an investigation that could involve Russia and Ukraine. There is a conflict of interest. This is a violation of ethics. Could the Vindman brothers, at least one of them, finally be held accountable? And it's sad, years of serving your country and probably being an upstanding citizen, and the Trump derangement syndrome makes you an absolute nut job. Representative authorized his biography in 2019, talking about his twin brother, and they listened in on a call of Donald Trump's call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and they decided to impeach him because Trump says, hey, you ought to look into the Bidens and see if there's any U.S. corruption going on over there. And Vindman was one of the whistleblowers that said, oh, my God, he asked him to look into the Bidens. Well, you probably should look into the Bidens. And so anyway, Representative Vindman could be facing an ethics investigation of his own because of a conflict of interest and double dipping between the State Department and also doing his own private business deals while he had influence in the Defense Department or Department of War as well. Speaking of Bidens and Hunter Bidens, I don't know if you heard this story. I don't know if Hunter's off his meds or if Hunter didn't get the memo or if Hunter has a big case of he doesn't give a darn anymore. But Hunter Biden has gone rogue. Catch this out. Hunter Biden shocks Democrat establishment. He denounces Joe Biden's open border and says America should not prioritize illegal immigrants. Let me read the story to you. This is from the Gateway Pundit. You can find the headline. Hunter Biden, the embattled son of Joe Biden, delivered a blistering critique of illegal immigration during a marathon unfiltered sit-down with former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan on the popular Sean Ryan Show. What emerged was something that no one in the Democrat Party expected. The interview landed in like a political grenade inside Democrat circles because in the long interview, Hunter Biden openly contradicted the core immigration posture of his father. While the Biden White House spent 4 years insisting that the border was secure, Hunter Biden acknowledged what millions of Americans have lived with. Unchecked illegal immigration drains public resources and places priorities away from veterans and from working citizens. Hunter said in the interview, quote, "We need a vibrant immigration, but we don't want immigrants that are coming here illegally, draining us of resources and being prioritized above people that are actually literal heroes that are coming home, that are still recovering from 20 years of endless war, or anybody else in our society." So Hunter Biden slammed his father and the policies of the entire Biden administration. And you have to ask Hunter, if you had the ear of the president, why were you not telling him about these sucky policies back when you had access to the White House? It might have been you were still looking for the cocaine you left around there, or whoever had that cocaine in the White House, which we're absolutely positively not sure of it. Coming up with the program, John Gordon's going to join us, and John's going to talk with us about Fulton County, Georgia. This is a big deal, my friends, and the mainstream media is not going to cover this, but this is a huge deal in the fact that people like Rudy Giuliani lost their law license. They lost all sorts of they lost a lot of their life, a lot of their fortunes, a lot of their finances, defending themselves because they said, hey, there's votes that need to be counted in Georgia that don't need to be counted. There's some fraudulent activity going on, and they were held in all sorts of legal jeopardy for that. Giuliani comes to mind. Millions and millions of dollars wiped him totally out. And Giuliani is actually going out there, and a lot of advocates are saying, if what you're saying is true, which Fulton County, Georgia has now admitted it, then Rudy Giuliani needs to be made whole because he lost everything because he was stating what seems now to be fact about what was happening in Georgia and how that affected the 2020 election. So we'll talk to John Gordon about that in just a bit. We'll talk about that. Giuliani, I said, what happened to Giuliani? He should be made entirely whole for that. All right, a lot of you have some great comments on the question of the day. What is the 4 words that you can ruin Christmas in? 4 words to ruin Christmas. It's your question of the day. Here's one. This is coming in from Denver International Airport. I told you we have a contact there, and he's on the screen there watching on the YouTubes. And here's some 4 words to ruin Christmas. Your flight's canceled. Your flight is canceled. Boom. That would ruin the Christmas real quick for some of you. So keep those ideas coming. What are 4 words that could ruin Christmas, my friends? What are 4 words that could ruin Christmas? All right, I got another story I do want to get to. And it's a question I have for some of you people that are drinkers. You keep hearing this tale that alcohol sales are down in America, that especially younger generations are not buying the booze as much as they used to. And I've always enjoyed a good glass of bourbon. Not a beer guy. Never was a beer guy. College wasn't a beer guy. It just wasn't my deal. And it just wasn't my party scene. But when I got in, when I did finally get into beer, I got into stouts, and I was had started my music company, and we went to an Irish pub, and I had a Guinness right from and that was delicious. And I said I like that. That was not like beer. But I've always enjoyed a little bourbon, and for years I would count myself as I wouldn't say a connoisseur, but a regular participant with libations with bourbon. And so many of my friends, with our cigars, conversation, meetings, fellowships that we'd have together, we would get together and have a little sip of the bourbon, right? Well, we recently have switched, a lot of us, thanks to our friend Kevin. He's peer pressured us into it and guilted us and shamed us, but we gave in. And a lot of us have been procuring tequila as a drink of choice. I didn't really know much about tequila. I just know you can put it in a margarita. That's kind of what but there's like sipping tequilas. I just letting you know if you didn't know that. I didn't know this. Again, not a connoisseur of anything. I just participate on occasion, several occasions. Tequila is very good. and it's a much less effect on the body and the recovery, and your body processes are different. Brown is bad as far as when it comes to your liquors. That's what I'm learning. And anyway, the tequilas. Well, I'm wondering if everybody else out there, where this is coming from. Bourbon has been all the rage. I mean, everybody had the bourbon. It was a big deal. Celebrities were putting out their own bourbons. Everybody was putting out. By the way, bourbon is a distinct part of the whiskey family. Bourbon whiskey there's very strict allocations of how bourbon is made and how it can be classified as bourbon. For instance, some menus will show Jack Daniels on the bourbon menu. It's not, because it does not meet the stipulation specifically of geography of the state of Kentucky. It has to be in that region there. Jack Daniels is a Tennessee whiskey, which is different. So a Texas whiskey, whiskey made in Texas is not a bourbon. It can't be a bourbon because there's rules on how that is allocated. Well, we've heard that alcohol sales are going down across America. People don't seem to be drinking as much. I showed this one to producer Chad yesterday, and I said, this is very, very interesting. It says bourbon on the ice. I don't know. Catch this. Kentucky bourbon giant has shifted operations to another distillery. It basically, Jim Beam, who's one of the big operators of bourbon, is basically closing one of his distilleries until this time next year. They say the warehouse is full. They have enough, and they have too much whiskey, not moving quick enough. They're going to shift its production to a different location. They're going to redo some things, and they're not worried because world famous whiskey brand Jim Beam is reportedly closing an entire facility January 1st and through the end of the year. They're shutting the entire thing down. The James Beam Distilling Company said in a statement it's always assessing production levels to beat the consumer demand. And it had added that there's recent discussion about the 2026 volumes. And he said, we've shared with our teams that while we will continue to distill other things at our craft distillery in Claremont, at our larger Booker distillery, we plan to pause distillation of our main distillery on the Jim Beam campus for 2026 while we take that opportunity to invest in site enhancements. What that means is, you know what? It ain't moving as quick. We have enough to get us through the year. And why don't we, so we can shut it down and nobody buying it. So let's enhance and let's do some remodeling because we got a lot of whiskey on our hands and it's not moving as quick as it used to. So I just found that peculiar that you hear these stories that people are, drinking less, younger generations especially, and now you find that the bourbon is on the ice at the Jim Beam distillery. They're saying, "No, we're not going to be able to. Make any bourbon next year because we don't need to." I found that a very, very, very interesting story indeed. All right, we got a couple of Christmas stories as well. Today's our last show before we head into the Christmas break. We'll take the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then producer Chad and I will be back with you on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll take next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off as well, heading into the new year. So we'll get all that. Anybody a Nicki Minaj fan? I sat last night. I wasn't in Pink. I wanted to find. I've heard the name Nicki Minaj. I recognized her when she walked out on the stage at the Turning Point USA. If I was at a restaurant, I'd say, that's either Nicki Minaj or her doppelganger. I know what Nicki Minaj looks like. I'm not familiar that much that I know of with the artistry of the songs of Nicki Minaj. If anybody wants to go watch this whole interview that she did with Erica Kirk at the Amerifest for Turning Point USA over the weekend. It was actually quite fascinating. She talked about her admiration for Donald Trump. She talked about her admiration for J.D. Vance. She talked about why she's decided to stand up. She got tired of being told you can't think for yourself. You got to think like us. It was really an interesting interview. And I sat there last night and I didn't cheat because then I got distracted, but I was trying to think of a Nicki Minaj song and I couldn't think of any. I knew who she was. I recognized her. I know the name, but I'm not necessarily all that familiar with her artistry. But it is crazy fascinating to watch the responses Nicki Minaj is coming out and not just she's on the Trump train. It really is really interesting to watch the crowd respond to her. And it also, I kept hearing this phrase at the Turning Point USA event over the weekend when I was listening to parts of it, that the MAGA tent is actually growing. And I know the media would try to make you think that maybe it's not, but it's kind of like the coalition that elected Donald Trump in November. It was a coalition of the young, the old. It was a coalition of, it did very well among black men. I mean, it's just all these demographics that it grew the MAGA tent, and it caused President Trump to win the presidency, popular vote, and the electoral vote. And then you have people like Nicki Minaj, and you have to say, I really think this coalition, the media tries to talk it down and says it's all based around Trump, but I really think this coalition is starting to grow, and people like Minaj speaking out there. If conservatives can keep their head above water and not beat each other to death in personality conflicts about I think J.D. Vance called it some silly purity test that, oh, you believe that about Israel, you can't be a part of us. No, there's a big tent, and there's going to be a lot of different viewpoints on Israel. There's going to be a lot of different viewpoints on war. There's going to be a lot of different viewpoints on whatever the topic would be, but it doesn't mean we can't be under the same tent. I just found this fascinating. If you get a chance to watch the Nicki Minaj interview with Erica Kirk that happened at Turning Point USA event this past weekend, you absolutely positively should go watch it. And welcome, Nicki. We'd love to have you on the program. If you're ever watching the show, love to have you here. She's, I guess, a good singer. I don't know. She's from Trinidad. I think she was born in Trinidad. That's not Trinidad, Colorado. That's Trinidad. It's a country. So I don't know much about Nicki Minaj, but I'm going to have to check out the music. I'm sure I like it. I'm sure I've heard it. I mean, I listen to, listen, I know you may think I'm an old crusty white guy, but I listen to all sorts of music. I had a music company for many years, and I know the music. I know good music, and I'm going to listen to some Nicki Minaj. Nothing says the birth of our Lord and Savior and celebrate the Christmas season like Nicki Minaj. Is that a true statement, Delilah? Delilah says that's not a true statement. She's shaking her head on that one. All right, question of the day. What is 4 words that you can use to ruin Christmas? Jim steps it right up there and gets morbid, and he says, yeah, there's been an accident. Well, that's pleasant. That's not very pleasant at all. Not very pleasant at all. All right, good to have all of you here on the show. Want to remind you one more quick time, and I want to. I'll show you this video that we had in Africa. Big Christmas party was last week, and a lot of cute kids. We'll show this to you here. Matter of fact, let's show it right now. Let Laura Carno see it. And then Laura is no longer homeless. Break the press out. Laura is no longer a homeless woman. We're very proud of her. She's finally got a house to live in, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Don't forget, this is our work in Africa. You see it on the sign behind me, riverspromise.org. Rivers Promise on my hat as well. Watch this. This is Christmas.
As a team?
Yes! As a team, as a team, as a team. Thank you. Support, knowledge, empathy, teamwork, respect. My name is Merwa Erabani. We come from Rivers Promise Legas Christian Academy. We are going to present for you a poem called We Are the Classroom. Poem. We are the classroom. We are the classroom. Loud and high. Where minds collide and dreams arise. We are the chalk, we are the pen, we are the boat. We write
That makes me laugh. That's our field director, Jonas, there dancing. Anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody, and glad to have you here on the program. Don't forget, if you'd like to sing Christmas gift to kids, there's still a chance to do that. We're still taking care of kids for the Christmas season. $25, buys them a pair of shoes. Go to riverspromise.org. Also looking for a couple of more people that would do $1,950 as a one-time gift. That would sponsor an entire class of kids for one entire month, 30 days, provide all their food, their health insurance. So whether it's $25, $19.50, or somewhere below or above or in between, I'd love to have you jump in here, riverspromise.org. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she joins us every week at this time. Her name is Laura. You might have heard of her, Laura Carno, and she's been homeless, broadcasting from various garages and truck stops, probably. I don't know. She's been broadcasting all sorts of places, but now she's not homeless.
I am not. We have a house. I've only been broadcasting from one place, the shop.
The shop. Yeah. I think you're at a truck stop. You were lying to us. You weren't. So you got moved in. How was the move in? I hate moving. I don't remember the last time I moved, but I stopped moving myself years and years and years ago. The way to ruin Christmas is, can I borrow your pickup truck? That's a way to ruin Christmas there. How is it, Lord? Did the move go well?
And so we're still unpacking. The pods got here on Friday. The movers got here on Saturday. And so we're unpacking and organizing. I'd say we're 90% there. We don't waste any time here. So
now,
yeah, it's going well.
Is this a Carno like dream house? This is it. You're going to retire in this house. This is the final destination.
This is it. They're taking us out in body bags. Yeah.
Well, I hope not body bags. I thought that would be kind of
like when we're old, like I'm never leaving here.
What if you got to go to the hospital?
Well, I'm not saying like I'm going to go to the store, Jimmy.
Sorry, I'm thinking you don't have to die at home. You can go get medical treatment. you can get help.
Gosh.
They have an ER. I mean, the ambulance can come. It'd be fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're no longer homeless.
Yeah. So the Zoom background. I put some stuff in the Zoom background. The office isn't unpacked yet, but look what I did find.
The Jimmy Lakey bobblehead is there. Yeah. Producer Chad and I were talking. We don't give enough of those away or sell enough of those. So we got to work on that. A New Year's resolution. They
should be. I saw that you were giving away tumblers for donations. You should give away limited edition Jimmy Lakey bobbleheads, because these are going to be worth probably like $19.95.
Wow, you're being generous. You're being very, very generous. You donate to Rivers Promise, you get a buy one get one free on the bobblehead. I mean, it's like, we'll give you 7. You want a whole truckload out there? We'll send them to you.
There you go. I think the biggest thing, though, real quick on moving in, since the trailer had basically the equivalent of an easy bake oven, is I have been making a loaf of bread every single day here, just because I can, and I've got an oven and all the things, and a countertop that's wider than 18 inches, and all the good things. Yeah.
So are you going to celebrate Christmas in the house? Put up the Christmas decorations while you unpack?
Probably not. There are other priorities. So there's been a couple of things that we've tripped across that are sitting on a countertop that are Christmassy, but we're not going to do a tree.
So what you're hearing, breaking news, Laura Carno is a Scrooge. She's not going to celebrate.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Okay,
are those your 4 words, Jimmy?
Those are, that'll ruin Christmas. I burned the muffins or whatever. That does way to ruin Christmas. All right, Laura, let's dive into a couple of other topics. First of all, you have the kitchen, but you're not ready for the Christmas thing. So maybe it's going to be next year before you get the first turkey baked there at the house. You're not ready for it.
Not ready for a big meal quite yet.
Okay. I'm glad you got moved in. I'm glad you didn't get blown away. We had a very windy time here in Colorado, and you sent me a link about Bye Wind. I was talking about the wind turbines in the ocean, and it looks like we're finally making some progress on some of the lies that we've been taught about energy and energy production in America.
Well, and the headline that caught my eye, Jimmy, it's on the East Coast, or off of the East Coast, there are ocean-based wind turbines, and they are stopping them for national security reasons. This was the headline. And so, of course, I needed to go look at what could national security reasons be for wind turbines. But the Interior Department said that they have unclassified reports from the US government. They're saying that the movement of massive turbine blades and the reflective towers create radar interference called clutter. And the clutter can obscure legitimate moving targets and generate false targets. And so basically they're saying we wouldn't be able to see if we could potentially not see if a bad guy was coming. And they've declassified some reports on it. So I think it's really interesting. It's, most of what we see is that wind is inefficient and it's expensive. And if the government has to keep subsidizing it, perhaps today isn't the day that the technology is worthwhile. It needs some more time. We've also seen angles, kills wildlife and all that kind of stuff. So I've never seen the national security angle of it. So I thought that was really interesting that it creates radar clutter. So more to come, I'm sure.
It's crazy the lack of investigation or research. They were just so hell-bent against oil and gas and carbon footprints, etc., that they just started installing these wood turbines. I think whale migration has been affected, marine life has been affected. God knows what they drudged up on the floor of the ocean as they were burying these power transmission cables. And now you found out they put America at risk potentially from an attack of one of our foreign enemies, just because they just hated the oil and gas industry so much. It really is true what I said. I think that the Democrats don't really have a policy. They have derangement, and they base their policies off derangement. They're deranged against oil and gas, deranged against global warming. So let's do this. And it has a consequence. They do the same thing with Trump. There's no real intellectual thought or research going into a lot of these policies.
Yeah, and we should start from a beginning of some sort of principle. And, a principle is that, people deserve to be able to buy, they have the right to buy energy the way they want to buy it and not have certain things forced down their throats. So there's a principle, and perhaps people would choose an affordable energy source. And, these, solar and wind, they're not affordable yet. And I'm not saying I'm against people, companies looking into these alternative sources. I'm not against that in theory, but I'm going to say bazillions of our tax dollars are going to make it look affordable, make it look on par with fossil fuels. That's not okay, because it takes away our ability to purchase what we want. Wait till the technology catches up, and then people will be lining up to purchase it.
You used the word bazillions. I've used the phrase gazillions. I think gazillions is more than a bazillion. I think it's higher.
What about umpteen? Did your parents ever say umpteen?
Yeah, umpteen. Umpteen times I've told you to clean your room. Umpteen. And I don't know what that meant.
So I always used to ask my mom, is it like right between 17 and 18, go 17, wow. Umpteen, 18. My mom really didn't appreciate all of my smart assery when I was a child.
I could see that smart assery would be one that my mother would find an object and probably beat my smart assery with at that point if I did that. But it's a great question for all of you people that use the phrase umpteen.
Yeah.
What teen are we referring to?
Yes, and by the way, my mom sometimes tunes in, so I'm not sure if she's listening today.
Okay, well, I hope. Hello, Mom. I'm sorry that your daughter's a smart ass. I apologize. We tried to raise her better, and yet here she is, flopping up again. 15 times we've asked her to not be this way. Lord, let's dive into this thing. Christmas is going to be a little bit more expensive. I went shopping a little bit, and I said, gosh, it's getting expensive. And part of that's my son's getting older, so, he doesn't want Legos anymore. He wants, like, cash or big items. I went to a restaurant with him last night. He wanted to go to Chipotle, and I said, okay, I'll go to Chipotle. I'm a Qdoba guy over Chipotle, but that's just me. We went there. It cost us over $50 for the 2 of us to go there, and I'm like, well, it's getting expensive to live here in Colorado, maybe to feed my son. So it's true, though. Colorado's not cheap, and our governor has not helped it become cheaper.
Yeah, and so I ran across this tweet this morning from an account that I follow and love. That he usually points out crime statistics and stuff, which is why one of the reasons I like to follow it. But Jared Polis tweeted, or X'd, or whatever they call it these days, Santa needed Rudolph to light the way. Families need lower costs, not higher prices from tariffs. So government's the problem on Twitter. said, reminder that Jared Polis increased the cost of package delivery in Colorado with the Jared Polis delivery tax. And so I love following people on Twitter who have these super long memories on everything that stinking Jared Polis did to make things more expensive. And so Jared Polis should look inward. He should look in a mirror instead of saying everything is caused by the tariffs. He should take a look at what all of the fees and taxes and Scott. I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Scott's saying, that I'm also the most smart ass woman in Colorado. True. Very true, Scott. Sorry, I got distracted. So Jared Polis should look in the mirror and say, gosh, what have I signed over the years that has made things more expensive in Colorado? Start there, because you could undo it.
Yeah. It's Jared Polis he's always obsessed. I'm sure it's his staffers obsessed off tariffs and what a bad thing they are. But Jared, this is the Jared Polis that every time we had a chance, he gave us a new fee. They didn't call it a tax because that would be kicked down by Tabor. It's more expensive to register your car, right? Because it's a fee. There's fees everywhere. Fees
All
on delivery. And so, Jared, if you're watching, again, you're a deranged individual, deranged about the tariffs. And because of that, he just makes stupid ass statements that make no sense, because he is the guy that has raised the cost of living and turned Colorado into the place that it has now become, rather than the place that it used to be. Let me ask you this question. You sent me the quote from Elizabeth Warren. Speaking of deranged people, Elizabeth Warren says people are relying, Laura, on the IRS. Have you ever relied on the IRS? We can't cut it. People really rely on it. It's like food stamps. They rely on the IRS. This is Pocahontas they're talking.
So where this comes from is some auditors and agents and staff at the IRS have been fired by Trump ahead of tax season. My guess, if we were to dig into the details, is there were some weaponized departments, weaponized against conservatives, by the way, myself included. A number of years ago during the Obama administration, my little bitty organization was, turned over and strip searched. And it was by the IRS, the same department that looked into some of the Tea Parties and stuff back in the day. But anyway, my guess is he disbanded the politically oriented parts of it. But yes, so Senator Elizabeth Warren is outraged by this. And her quote, Jimmy, was, "People rely on the IRS." And my first thought was, do we really rely on the IRS? No, we are doing everything we can to stay in good stead, not run afoul of them and not get in trouble, for goodness sakes. We don't rely on the IRS. It would be wonderful if they just went away. Or as Senator Ted Cruz says, we should be able to do our taxes on a postcard.
Yeah. It really just unbelievable. Some politicians say things. You're like, do you think that's going to fly? Maybe she means it. I mean, is there anybody out there? I don't care if you're left of center, and I don't care if you think Joe Biden is the most brilliant man that ever sat in the Oval Office. Or do you rely on the IRS? I don't think anybody would say that in America. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right. Everybody raise your hand who relies on the IRS. I mean, nobody. It's a scourge. So to your point, though, who do you think you're getting to vote for you by saying people rely on the IRS? It's so funny.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, she's Pocahontas. Now, I hadn't thought of her in a long time, and now I have thoughts of her in my head, and I'm going to have to go to my therapist right before Christmas now. Got to go to therapy. Laura, I'm glad you're no longer homeless. I wish a Merry Christmas to you and Bill. We will convene again next Tuesday. If you're available, we can talk about New Year's and year in review, and sure. Maybe you'll be a little bit more unpacked, and I'm glad. I'm going to miss the shop, though. I'm going to miss it. On occasion, you can do the show from out there. Well, congrats on the new house.
Wait
Faster,
Thank
Colorado.
Thank you, but we didn't do my 4 words. My Christmas in 4 words.
Oh yeah, Christmas in 4 words. Yeah, go ahead.
Ruin Christmas in 4 words. This takes us back to COVID. Put on a mask.
Put on a mask. Yeah.
Remember, don't kill grandma. Remember.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say your 4 words where I'm on Lakey's show, and that was going to be it. I thought that was going to be it. So
it's the highlight of my day. It's the highlight of my day. And it gives me an excuse to hair and makeup and, a decent shirt that's suitable for people.
Get out of your moving clothes. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. Don't ruin Christmas. What's 2 weeks to flatten the curve? That's more the words. That would ruin your. Now I've got all these COVID flashbacks happening in my head.
I know, exactly. Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family, and to producer Chad and his family.
By the way, you're holding up that bobblehead, cause people to stumble. My Lakey bobblehead. Jeff says on YouTube channel, I'm totally jealous of Laura's bobblehead. Don't take it out of the box. The Jimmy Lakey bobblehead. Obnoxious Scott on the Rumble channel says, "Oh, Jimmy, the school, meaning Legacy Christian Academy in Rwanda, should have a trophy case in the entrance with a Lakey bobblehead in it."
I like that he starts it. Oh, Jimmy.
Oh. It's like Epstein, not
exactly.
Not that Epstein, the other Epstein.
No, the other one.
Yeah, the other Epstein. Welcome back, Cotter. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to one up the trophy case with my bobblehead in it at my school. I'm wanting the bobblehead to be turned into a life-size giant statue, like you have the Christ of the Brazil up on the hill. I want the Lakey bobblehead up on the hill above my school.
Wow.
Is that a new level of narcissism? I probably should repent.
I mean, I think kind of. I mean, it's sort of like it's sort of like the Kennedy Center being renamed for Trump. And there's something I ran across another headline this morning, something else that's going to have Trump's label on it. So just do the Christ the Redeemer size statue of Jimmy
statue of me on the side of the hill. With the I think it'd be good if you look at that bobblehead closely. There's little puka shells on it. I think you see it. Yeah, look at that. That's a handsome fella right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice shirt, too. It's like a Bobby Brady shirt.
I still have that shirt. When I did the TV show, Frontier Taste and Tales, they made me find that shirt. I found the shirt, and it still fit. I don't know if it would now, but it still fit. 3 years ago, it still fit. Still hangs in the closet. And I figured maybe I'll sell it one day.
You should wear it Tuesday. Wear it next Tuesday.
And then
we can.
What's my New Year's resolution? Compare it. Yeah. I don't have the little soul patch either. It's on the bobblehead as well. All right.
Okay,
Laura, yeah, but I did several of the episodes of the television show, Frontier Taste and Tales, in that shirt.
In that shirt. Okay.
All right, Laura Carno, it's a pleasure. Laura Carno, fastercolorado.org. Great organization, winding up the year. And folks can still make those donations.
Yeah, all that extra cash people have sitting around saying, what do I do with it? Faster Colorado will put it to good work.
In Jared Polis's Colorado, since we all have bucketfuls of cash, please give it to Faster Colorado. We're keeping kids safe in the school and training staff and administration to keep your kids safe on the public school campus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Laura Carno, we appreciate talking to you next week, and have a great Christmas indeed. Let's go to John Gordon. I'm getting a message from Kim, one of our publicists that works with us, and she's got her times mixed up. So I got Gary Benoit, and Gary, if you can hold, we'll get you here in just a second. But Kim sent you the wrong time. But hold still. I'll get to you, Gary, if you're able to hold. If not, just tell Kim she's a naughty girl, and we'll reschedule. But let me go to John Gordon. John Gordon is in the green room as well. John Gordon, good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. The truth with John Gordon. Yeah, what's you've been truthing here lately? What's been the big topic on the John Gordon show?
Well, there are a lot. Obviously, one of the things that is a big topic for all of us, Christmas came early this year because we just learned this morning that the gross domestic product rose 4.5% in November. That is unbelievable. It's been tracking around 3%. And I don't know. Do you know who Art Laffer is?
Yes.
I had the privilege of having dinner with he and Steve Moore just 10 days ago, and we were talking about the economy. They said that they believe that we might have a chance to get to double-digit growth in 2026. About a month ago, people were talking doom and gloom, people that I really respect, like Ray Dalio and Michael Burry, and you go down the list. These are professional doom and gloomers, I think. And man, I tell you, this economy is turning. It is turning fast, and it is going to go to the moon. We have not had double-digit growth since Ronald Reagan. Some of that may have spilled over into Clinton's years, actually. But that was the first time we'd have double-digit growth in a minute. And now I think we've got a realistic chance of seeing just a banner year in GDP growth. I mean, when $18 trillion floods into our country from foreign investment, and we're building tools, plant, and equipment in our country rather than in Mexico, Canada, and China, wow, that's a big number.
Christmas coming early and finding not just the economic reports coming out are good, the jobs numbers, all these numbers are looking good. They're on the upswing. Another one that I find interesting is I keep being told that January is going to be a big day for a big month for accountability. Now we learned that John Brennan's attorneys have said, hey, you can't look at him in the grand jury in Florida. That's mean. We don't like this judge or what have you. That there could be some indictments.
What? Shame. Let me go get my pity pillow.
Yeah.
That makes me so sad that John Brennan doesn't like the prosecutor in South Florida. They didn't mind weaponizing the entire Biden Department of Justice against Trump. And what short memories and what hypocrites and what just demonic, evil people.
Yeah, I was told yesterday by one of our guests, Michael Lutz, who's pretty well connected. He said there are not only grand juries that are operating, not just that one we're talking about, other ones, but there's also military tribunals that are sparking up. And we're told January, February could be Christmas come early, not for revenge, but for accountability. We'll see if that's the case. But there was a story out of Georgia where Christmas comes early.
Yes.
Evidently, all the, quote, conspiracy theories that Rudy Giuliani was almost destroyed over, they was told all sorts of bat crap crazy, were called all sorts of names that we believe maybe there's some inconsistencies in the election. Turns out Giuliani was right the whole time. Fulton County alone had 315,000 ballots counted that should not have been counted, and Biden only won by 11,000 votes in the state.
You are correct, sir. And Rudy Giuliani is not the only person that's been saying that. I've been saying that for 3 years because I had the distinct honor of being on the case. Jeffords, Sotir, and Perdue against the Fulton Board of Elections. I've seen the evidence up close and personal. 3,300 duplicate ballots on the Secretary of State's own website. 20,000 absentee ballots that were pristine, untouched by the human hand, unfolded, all scored for Biden, sitting in the State Farm Arena waiting to be tabulated. 14,000 people on the voter rolls, when you alphabetize them by first name, have perfectly sequential voter ID numbers. They got caught. They didn't think anybody would catch that one. Our team did. It goes on and on. I just feel bad that I misinformed our listeners. I told them that we felt that there were 40,000 illegal ballots cast in Fulton County alone. I was wrong. It was 360,000 when you add the 40,000 that we identified with the 320,000 that were counted illegally in violation of state law because no one had the courage to sign their name to the ballot ticket because they knew that that would be perjury and they could go to jail for that. So they just send in the tapes, fraudulent as they were, ballots that appeared out of nowhere, and they were counted, and Biden won, as you said, by 11,780.
Yeah.
And 360,000 were fraudulent. That's just Fulton County. We hadn't even talked about the state. There's probably another 400,000 based on what some people, David Cross, who actually discovered this omission on the voter tapes, who we worked with, and I know, and also Joe Rossi, who's retired from PepsiCo. He spent 2 years sifting data, and they both independently came up with 400,000 in the state. And the nerve, I can't say it. I want to. Fonnie Willis to sit there and say, you can come after me all you want to, but those are the people who stole the election. They stole the election while accusing other people of trying to steal it. And the people that were trying to steal it just wanted a fair and honest election.
You know, pops into mind,
Jimmy, these are really, really bad people. I mean, sick.
I want to know if, again, talking about indictments and grand juries, is there legal culpability? Is somebody going to be held accountable? But one name that comes to mind in Georgia is Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp's a Republican, and
I know Brian Kemp.
He was not very nice to President Trump when President Trump said,
he
"Can you
wasn't.
find us some extra votes? Something's not right here." And Brian basically said, "There's nothing wrong to see in my state." In my estimation, this Brian Kemp's an idiot. I hate to say it, but
no, he is not an idiot. And unfortunately, I wish that he were.
Yep.
I would rather a dumb liar than a smart liar. And Kemp is smart. He's shrewd, and he has a genetic defect, and he missed the loyalty gene, because Trump is truly responsible for him being elected. I was running for the state senate in Georgia at the same time that Brian Kemp was running for governor. I was intimately involved in his race. I supported him. I had a breakfast for him. We had 100 people show up. They gave $90,000 to his gubernatorial campaign. He never said thank you. He never acknowledged it, never said good job. And I thought that I would be probably recognized with an appointment. The phone never rang. I was standing at a Republican meeting with a mutual friend, and Kemp came over and said, "We got to get John appointed to a committee or a commission." Great. Thank you so much. Phone never rang. That's all right. I don't care. Look, I got better things to do. Sitting on some state commission with no authority and no power and would be a waste of time. It did not appeal to me then. It doesn't appeal to me now. But show me somebody that doesn't appreciate some expression of gratitude. I would have liked for Governor Kemp to have acknowledged the work that we did. So guess what? When he ran in the last cycle, I worked hard against him. And did he win? I think so. I was also running for attorney general against Chris Do Nothing Carr, who is his attorney general, who's now running for governor, God save us. And with Brian Raffensperger. And I did not meet one person in Georgia that said anything favorable about Brian Raffensperger. We went to a forum in Ellijay, Georgia, that I was on the same stage before the candidates for Secretary of State, and they booed him off the stage. He could not finish his remarks. He is despised by the rank and file in Georgia. And how they have a political future, I don't know. I suspect that they do not, now that they can't cheat. Yep. And so I just don't think, I think my election was rigged. I don't know that I would have won if it were not rigged. I mean, I've been around politics a long time. The power of the eye is very significant. In other words, it's very hard to beat an incumbent. I don't care what they've done or haven't done. So I did think that with President Trump's endorsement, which I was honored to have received, and a lot of hard work and dipping into my own savings nest egg, that we could win. And we did raise a total of $2 million. And so I felt like we had put forth a very good campaign, but we didn't get it across the line. No one will ever know why.
Yeah. Anybody going to be held accountable? Last question for you in this Georgia thing. I mean, this is, it's basically admission that the 2020 election went south, and Georgia was a big part of that. I remember election night listening. It was all looking good, and then all of a sudden votes stopped counting. There was a flood or something in Atlanta. The water pipe broke, and then suddenly they turned everything back on.
Lies. The water pipe was a broken toilet on the third floor that happened at 6 a.m. They were able to keep it open all the way up until 10 p.m. when they kicked out the observers, the Republicans, the Democrats, the press, said that we were done for the night. 30 minutes later, they resumed counting. We have it on video.
Yeah.
The guy who installed the State Farm security video cameras said, I wonder what's going on. He went and looked. And there they are in the middle of the night counting ballots. So he put it on a thumb drive and sent it to our legal team. We've got the evidence, but we live in some kind of an alternate reality world right now. And Fonnie Willis, who stole taxpayer money, you may as well say she stole it. I think she stole it. She hired her lover, Nathan Wade. She paid him an exorbitant amount of money, over $600,000, to be a special prosecutor in the Trump 19 case because she needed a RICO expert. Well, he had never prosecuted a RICO case in his entire career. Then there were two other special prosecutors. They each got paid like less than $100,000, but her lover got over $600,000. So what did they do? They went on exotic travel all over the United States and the Caribbean. I mean, why is she still a member of the Georgia bar? It distresses me to no end. But here's the problem, Jimmy. We have a judiciary and a layer of ethics that are supposed to govern us. But an umbrella over this whole thing is politics. And the fact of the matter is that Atlanta, Fulton County is 50% white, 50% black. A lot of white people in general do not vote in blocks. Black people in general do, although Trump proved that that was not necessarily always going to be the case. But as a general rule, and so when Fonnie Willis ran for re-election just last year, she got 75% of the vote.
Wow.
Go figure.
Well,
therein lies the problem.
Yeah. Hopefully accountability does come. Not sure how it does, but I'm hoping it does. John Gordon, I appreciate you hopping on here to Christmas Eve.
Thank you.
You have a syndicated radio show called The Truth with John Gordon. Folks can listen to you. They can find you on the web. Give a little plug away, sir.
Well, we're on all the social media every Saturday from 12 to 2 on Getter, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Just go to one of those, the flavor of your choice. Look for John Gordon Truth. And you can find all of our past episodes on johngordon.tv. And if you agree with anything I've said or disagree with anything I've said, I'd love to hear from you. Just write me, johngordontruth@gmail.com. I love getting letters like Santa Claus does.
John Gordon, a pleasure. Merry Christmas, sir. We'll talk after the maybe first of the year, maybe next week. You never know. John Gordon, look him up, and every weekend you can hear his show, his broadcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I love it when I get that. I was texting Kim a moment ago. I said, Kim, she goes, I gave Gary the wrong time. I'm so sorry. And Gary has been patiently now waiting in the green room, we call it, and waiting to come on. Let me introduce him to you. Our guest he's going to be our last guest of the morning. He was supposed to be our first guest of the morning, but it's Kim's fault. Kim, if you're watching, it's your fault. No, we love you, Kim. Gary is the editor-in-chief of the New American, publication affiliate of the John Birch Society, also the author of Vanguard of the Americanist Cause, a close look at the John Birch Society. And I want to bring Gary into the program with the John Birch Society. Gary, thanks for your patience, sir.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed listening to your program.
Well, I appreciate you doing it and hanging out so long. And so I do want to have you in here rather than have to reschedule if we can do it. Looks like we can. There's a story out there that is quite disturbing, that a school district in Vermont has raised a Somali flag on the property. Something I never thought I'd seen in an American school. You know, you have American flags in front of, I think, every American school, except the one in Vermont. They've decided the Somali flag would be better fitting. Talk about this story, and am I missing something?
Well, I will say they had both flags, both the Somali flag and the American flag. But, of course, I would question, why would the Somali flag be raised to begin with? And what the school district said was that this was in protest to what Trump was saying, President Trump, regarding our immigration policies and regarding illegal immigrants from Somalia. So that was their former protest. And this is, a school district in Vermont. But, one thing I would ask, Jimmy, is why have government schools to begin with? Should there not be a separation of school and state? I think that would be much better than a separation of church and state. Let's separate school and state. Yeah. And that way there, if you have people want to fly the Somali flag, they could do so. But why should our tax dollars be used for that purpose?
It's fascinating that every level we think of the university campuses have been taken over by propagandists and indoctrination rather than education. College professors pressure kids to have certain beliefs, and I'm all for hearing different ideas. I think it's great to have I have professors in college that I knew disagreed politically, but I never feared retribution from them. We could have a
Right.
discussion. I think that's good. But now we're starting to see it in elementary schools. There were so many elementary or high school teachers that got fired after the assassination of Charlie Kirk for literally celebrating that. It's not just the institutions of higher learning that have been polluted in America with this intolerance. It goes down to kindergarten class.
It absolutely does. And I would argue, Jimmy, that the public schools have become what they were intended to be from the beginning. It's not a good idea gone bad, but from the beginning, there were socialists behind the government school system, and they were designed to teach what the government wanted to teach, and that is socialism and humanism. And of course, long ago, God was expelled from the classroom. So I would encourage everybody who can do so to, who still have kids in the public school system, to get them out and to instead choose private schooling or homeschooling.
You have the book out. It's called Vanguard of the Americanist
Yes.
Cause, a close look at the John Birch Society. And one of the questions that I saw in one of the reviews of the book is kind of a discussion topic of the book. What if America's drift towards collectivism was planned? You're talking about the schools were planned to be indoctrination centers from the very beginning. Is this entire drift that we're seeing towards this collective thought, and you can only think this way, or else you're a racist, bigot, homophobe, Nazi, fascist? Is that collectivism just emotions of some uneducated people, or is it planned?
Well, a liberal Democrat, Franklin D. Roosevelt once said that nothing happens in politics by accident. I believe that to be true, and the book does provide some evidence, but it also points to other books that have a lot of additional evidence showing that this drift toward more and more government leading to total government and more internationalism leading to world government is not by accident. It was planned that way, and it's been planned for a long time. As a matter of fact, I would say in terms of conspiratorial machinations, you could probably go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, where you could say that was a conspiracy too, on the part of Satan against God. So it goes back a long time, but moving up more toward the present day, yes, if you look at my book, The Vanguard of the Americanist Cause, it gives a number of examples where internationalists, globalists, socialists themselves acknowledge that they're working for world government.
Yeah. The voice, my friends, of Gary Benoit. He's the editor-in-chief of The New American, and also the author of The Vanguard of the Americanist Cause, a close look at the John Birch Society. Gary, it's obvious to you and me and maybe others that we have some problems in this collective thought. We have problems in our public school. We have problems at our university level. We've had indoctrination centers. The media is oftentimes the Mockingbird media fulfilling the roles that they have. I guess in this Christmas season, is there hope for us? Is there a way to slap it in reverse, hit the brakes, and turn the car around? As a country, we've been sliding this way. You quoted FDR. I mean, how far down the path are we, and can we hit reverse here?
I think we're very far down the path. And of course, I do know a lot of people put their hope in Trump, and Trump has done some very good things, but not everything he's done, I would say, has been good. But the bottom line is this: we should measure politicians based on the Constitution and support them to the degree that they support the Constitution. It is that simple. So I would apply that litmus test to anybody. But yes, I do think there's hope, because we do have a lot of our freedoms still intact. We still have a freedom of speech, although we saw how that's been infringed upon through social media. But we still have a lot of it. We have other freedoms as well. And of course, the bottom line too, Jimmy, that we must never forget who's really in charge, and that of course is God. And God is responsible. He's the one who determines results. But we're responsible to do our duty. So we should do our duty in all areas, all aspects of our lives, our duty to God, our duty to family, our duty to country. And God will decide what happens. And when we look at history, we've seen that to be the case. If you go back for example, to the height of the Roman Empire, when Christians were being fed to the lions, when they were lit afire in the streets of Rome, to light the streets of Rome. That probably seemed very hopeless that Christianity could have survived. And yet, through the grace of God, it absolutely did. So let's not discount the miracle, but let's not assume that a miracle will happen either. Let's do our part to the best of our abilities, and I do think we can turn things around.
I'm reminded as you talk about God has to play a role in this, and the Bible very clear. If you're a person believing in the Bible, I believe it's 2 Chronicles, in which God gives instruction. It says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then I will hear it, and then I'll heal their land." And so it's not just taking action, the ballot box, being involved, or being engaged in your school board, but we all should be praying for our nation that we would get back to kind of what was birthed in the first place.
We should work as if everything depends upon us, but pray as if everything depends upon God. And I think it's the combination of the two that provide the solution.
Yeah. Gary Benoit, obviously, we've talked about the magazine, part of the John Birch Society. If folks want to get a copy of it or learn to subscribe to that, we'll tell the website here in a moment. You're the editor-in-chief of the New American, publication of the John Birch Society. And then the new book is called Vanguard of the Americanist Cause, a close look at the John Birch Society.
Right.
I'll let you take it any way you want, plug it, give the website out, and maybe folks can get a copy of this book.
Okay. Well, here's a copy of the book right here that you just referred to, Jimmy, and appreciate the chance to have the floor here for a minute or two. Thank you very much. But the whole purpose of the book is to describe what the John Birch Society is all about, what we're for, what we're against, and why we exist. What we're for is a government large enough to protect freedom, but not a government so large to violate the freedom that government is supposed to protect. What we're against is any form of totalitarianism, any form of authoritarianism. It can be called communism, it could be called Nazism, it could be called fascism. We're opposed to all those things, and we believe in constitutional government. We believe that the Constitution provides us with the greatest form of government ever devised to keep government from becoming too powerful. And we also believe that there is a conspiracy for global control, that this conspiracy is not just a communist conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy of insiders. You could call it a deep state conspiracy as well, that is working to try to destroy freedom. They may claim that they're for the people, but the real purpose is to acquire total power into their own hands. And then the John Birch Society, the whole purpose of the John Birch Society is to expose this conspiracy through education and also through organization. You had referred earlier, Jimmy, to the ballot box, and it's true. The ballot box is very important, and everybody should vote. But what determines ultimately what happens when people go to the voting polls is how informed they are. The more informed they are, the better government we will have. If, for instance, people thought that the United Nations was a good thing and would vote for candidates who supported the United Nations and wanted to equip the United Nations with more power, well, then that voting would actually work against us. So people need to be informed. And I pointed to the example of the United Nations specifically, because if you go back to the founding of the John Birch Society in 1958, that's one of the things that Robert Welch talked about. He warned back in 1958 against the dangers of the United Nations. He said it was intended from the beginning to be a world government trap. And when we were saying those things, when the John Birch Society was saying those things back in the late 1950s and 1960s, a lot of people laughed. No one's laughing today, Jimmy, because it's out in the open. Also, no one's laughing today about the predictions that Robert Welch made, that we would have more government, that we would have more taxation, that we would have more regulation. We can see these things unfolding, and Robert Welch was able to forecast those things, Robert Welch being the founder of the John Birch Society, because he had studied history and was able to detect that there were conspirators who were working to bring about that world. But it's not enough even to become informed, Jimmy. We also have to get organized and get involved. Yep. And that's what the John Birch Society is all about. So for all these many years, since 1958, we've been working for our motto of less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. And we'll be doing so through organization, recognizing that we can't just have a candidate We just can't have a mailing house operation. We can't do it that way. If we're going to save our freedoms, we have to do so ourselves. We have to be organized in communities across the country. And so that's what the John Birch Society has done in the form of chapters. So we can wake the town, tell the people, and get them involved. And one more thing, the websites to get my book or to look more into the John Birch Society. The New American Magazine, which is the magazine of the John Birch Society. The website for that is thenewamerican.com. And thank you for displaying it, Jimmy. And then the website for the John Birch Society is jbs.org.
You got it. Gary Benoit, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, sir. If you can't remember the New American, or just go to jbs.org. It'll link up for you. And Gary, have a great Christmas. We'll talk to you again soon. I appreciate your patience there, and we'll give Kim some hassle about this.
I think she's doing a great job, so I just got to stick that in and give her a plug.
I love Kim.
We all make mistakes, but
Kim's fantastic.
God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Kim's fantastic. She bails me out a lot of times as an exquisite booker of guests. We appreciate Kim. I just like to give her a hard time because I can. It's just my it's my style. All right, ladies and gentlemen, glad to have you here on the program. What are the 4 words that can ruin Christmas? Everybody get your sound off on that. We're glad to have all of you participate in the question of the day. I'd like to, if I may, do the meme roulette section of the show. But before I do the stolen meme, final one before Christmas, I'd like to say this to you. Sherry Cree's amazing. She, one of our great sponsors, homeswithsherry.com. Since the very beginning, she's been on board with producer Chad and I, helping make this magic happen on a daily basis. We appreciate her. And listen, I know we talk about this Christmas season. You're thinking, I don't want to think about business or real estate right now. You need to think about it. And it's just a consultation, a conversation, so that you have the timeline right in your head. We talked about this with Sherry last week 2 times, that if you're a seller in many markets, if you want to sell and get top dollar, like maybe sometimes big numbers and have a better price on your home in the selling market, you really want to jump in the early selling market in 2026. If you're a buyer, you might be able to kind of wait it out because it's just how it works. You need to know the strategy of the buying and the selling, the buyer's market, the seller's market, and how those can change month to month, week to week. And Sherry can help you have that strategy. And also, don't forget that Christmas gift for your maybe first-time home buyers in the family, and they don't know how to start. They're not going to listen to you, and you don't want to give them a gift card to say 30-minute free consultation with Sherry Cree. And she'll help them get their toolkit in place so that they can buy their first home. It's homeswithsherry.com, the I-25 corridor in the state of Colorado, the Denver area, the Boulder area, Fort Collins area, Windsor, Wellington. Hello, how are you doing? Arvada, we love to see you there. Aurora, good to have you there. Parker, Thornton, you didn't get the idea of all that I-25 corridor in the Front Range. Longmont, she can help you there as well. And God knows if you live in Longmont, you probably do need some help. So that's what you got to do, is you got to just make those contact with Sherry, and she will be absolutely positively in touch with you, and you be in touch with her, and it would be fantastic for you to have. She just knows that real estate can create generational wealth, and so you don't want to just take it lightly. You want to have a real strategy in place. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. All right, it's time for the stolen meme section of the show. We go around the Googles, the global search, and we find memes that we steal. And the memes are meant to be funny. They're also meant to illustrate absurdity. That's sometimes the best way to prove a point, is just illustrating with some humor. And that's what we do here in this section of the show. Reminder, tomorrow we will not have a show for Christmas or the day after. We'll reconvene next Monday. The final part of the year will reconvene here on the show. But here it is, the globe that just keeps on giving. We just love this thing, and it's how we cue the memes. So let's do it. Round and round the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Hate doesn't make America great. Honk if you hate Trump. So 2 signs at a protest. Real signs, real protests. That was the sign that was there. Doesn't make us great, but honk if you hate the guy. Yeah, round and round the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. The fact that there's only a highway to hell and a stairway to heaven says a lot about the anticipated traffic numbers. You know, that's probably true. Probably true. Is there an elevator if you can't make the stairs? Just curious. Round and round the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. My whole life, I never read a warning label telling me not to eat laundry detergent or put glue in my hair. Somehow I just knew. Yeah. You ever seen that? I didn't ever have to have a warning label on my coffee cup that says content could be hot. But after the big lawsuit against McDonald's many years ago, if you notice your coffee cups, they all say contents of this cup may be hot. Could spoil your bottom or something, or your lap, or wherever you spill it on. Yeah, well, warning labels, very litigious society. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Why a whole generation chooses to mispronounce the word fragile. We like to call it fragile. It must be Italian. Name the movie. It's one movie reference I get. I'm not a movie guy. I get that one. Fragile. It must be Italian. Something special. Right around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. There's President Trump wishing all of you Merry Christmas. I'm your president for 3 more years. Merry Christmas, Democrats. I love the trolls. The trolls are fantastic. Just some people are just apoplectic. They can't handle it. I'm a happy warrior. I think it's funny. Right around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. We don't know. Okay, this is a key one. Sydney Sweeney on the left, Greta Thunberg on the right. Are you a Merry Christmas person, or are you a Happy Holidays person? Contemplate, discuss among yourselves. That's funny. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. There's 2 different groups. Figure it out. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. There we go. We've stolen all the... The Chinese are even upset with the intellectual property theft we have done, and we must pause for a long time, 5 days. We're going to take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. Of course, Saturday and Sunday we'll reconvene here next Monday. And if you'd like to get on the email list for Rivers Promise, go to our website, riverspromise.org. Sign up for the email list, and we'd love to communicate with you there. I think there's 2 emails going out. One will be a Christmas wish from the kids, and another one just a reminder as we start heading towards the end of the year. If you have not made that donation, those end-of-year donations, you happen to have a little extra money laying around, your kids and the grocery bill and the Christmas gifts haven't bankrupted you, we'd love to have your help. We're still looking for just a couple of more people that would give $1,950 as a one-time gift. And in that one-time gift, you're going to sponsor an entire class for an entire month. And it takes care of 30 kids for $65 a month for an entire month. And we started off last week looking for 15 of those. We need a couple of more to round it out. So if it's possible that you have $1,950 as a year-end donation, you would be taking care of 30 kids. What that we take care of, that's their health insurance, or health medical insurance, which is fantastic. It's their food, 2 meals a day for the entire month. It's making sure their uniforms are spiffy. They got the shoes on their feet. It's making sure they're in the school, have the best curriculum, the best teaching, everything out there. It's just a big part. So if you could do the $1,950, maybe your business would like to do it. Maybe your boss would like to do it. Maybe your company would like to do it. Maybe you have a family trust. Maybe you have a DAF account, donor advised giving fund. Whatever the case may be, we still need a couple more that would do $1,950 for 30 days of sponsorship of one class. We would appreciate you doing that. And again, $1,950. And if you can't do that much, but you want to do something, just I would say let the Lord lead you. If you got $10 makes a big difference. $10 to put in perspective can buy a kid a new uniform when theirs tears up. $25 gets a new pair of shoes for Christmas. And by the way, if you missed out on the Christmas program, you just saw that video earlier of the kids celebrating Christmas. We're still doing some celebration. Still got some families to take care of. We haven't funded all the Christmas fun that we need to do. And when I say fun, I'm talking about the some of the supplies and some of the things that we need to buy for kids. So we could still use some help there. So every little bit adds up. And go to the website today. I would love to, by the end of the day, maybe tomorrow, call my guys and say, hey, man, we got to, got this much money, we're going to send it over. Give me the plan for the kids, because we got families right now that Christmas we try to deliver food to some families that might not have much food. We tried to send some food home with families, beans and rice and things that they could do. But you can help us. There's still time for your dollars that you give today to be making impact literally tomorrow. Literally within 24 hours, your dollars will be on the ground in Rwanda, and you can help us. Go to learn more about the organization, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. And remember, we have a lot to be grateful for, and we're all very blessed. And whether you agree with Brother Lakey or whether you disagree with Brother Lakey, we're all very blessed people, and we should make sure we're leaving the world a better place the best we can. And sometimes $5 is a way to do that, $10 or $1,950. All right, I'm going to see you after the holidays. Send us a couple of emails to the Rivers Promise list the next several days, so we'll stay in touch there. Don't forget, go to the Apple Podcasts, go to the Spotify, go to iHeart, and make sure you like and download this show. And you can absolutely positively watch it again and again, or listen to it when your family's here, put your earbuds in, and just listen to us on all the podcast platforms. So if you don't follow us on the podcast platforms, you should. And that's good. Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap this program up. We went overtime because we had that little mix-up on a guest schedule. So we wanted to make sure Gary Benoit did not waste his time getting ready for this. So we wanted to carry over a little bit longer. So it's bonus and it's free. Don't worry. You don't need to give any more. You don't have to send tips or anything. We did an extra 30 minutes just for you today. And that makes up for the absence the next couple of days. I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I really do appreciate all of you. As we've passed the 1-year anniversary of this show, I do appreciate all of you. And Linda, Merry Christmas to you. And I mean this to all of you. Merry Christmas. Don't forget, it's all about the gifts right now. It's all about Jesus, why he came. He came to give us life abundant. God sent his only son, that whoever believes in him would not perish, but have eternal life. Don't forget that. That's the real reason of the Christmas. When your mother-in-law is about to drive you nuts, when the kids are waking you up too early to see what Santa Claus brought them, remember that we give the gifts, we drink the eggnog, we sing the songs, and it's really about, well, it's all about that first Christmas. Yep. You got it? God bless you. God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey, a.k.a. Jaime Lagos. Have a great Christmas. I'll see you Monday after Christmas. We're off the next couple of days.